let's dive into another great tool that Rabbu has, which is the market research tool. So, Amir, if you want to show us how we can find markets and, pick the right short-term rental market to invest in, let's dive into the tools that you guys have around markets.
Yeah, absolutely. This tool I'm going to show you guys is probably the most underutilized tool, and we haven't done a great job of displaying it on the site, but it's one of my favorite tools that we have. And the use case here is I'm interested in buying an Airbnb, but I don't even know where to start looking, right? Like I know there's some great markets, and I'm sure Taylor, you get this question all the time. Where should I be looking, right? And what matters? So we've released a tool not too long ago. It's a little hard to find, but it's incredibly powerful. So if you go to rabbu.com, then click on data tools here in the top navigation, and then go to top Airbnb markets. This is going to take you to our market finder tool. So this is overwhelming at first, but as you dive into it, you'll see how powerful it is. So what this now shows you is every single market in the United States that has an Airbnb in it. So you'll see, and I'm showing the first 26, but there's 3,423 unique markets in the United States that have Airbnbs in it. So easy choice, right? You just pick one and they'll all do well. It doesn't work that way. So what I have this filtered by right now, and you'll see that these are all filterable, is markets with the most Airbnbs in it. So unsurprisingly, Kissimmee, Miami. So you'll see a lot of, Florida, a lot of Tennessee, a lot of Texas, California with the top markets. But what this does, it looks at a couple of things. It looks at the average home value of a market. We get that from Zillow. It's called the ZHVI, Zillow Home Value Index. So we take that number. Then we take our annual number for that market, the gross yield, the occupancy rate, the number of Airbnbs in that market to come up with an ROI score, meaning, hey, what's your likelihood to get a good return in this particular market? You can search any of these for the United States in general. So if I were to click here on the ROI score, the market with the best ROI score looks like it's Frankenmuth in Michigan. Never heard of it, but it's got average home value is $409,000, average revenue is $70K, gross yield is good, occupancy is respectable, only 33 Airbnbs. So you could do it for the whole market. You could pick a state. So let's say, hey, a lot of people always look in Florida. What are the best markets in Florida? Well, it looks like Holiday, Florida, has the best ROI score. Home value 300, revenue 35, gross yield 97 Airbnbs. But we give you the ability to really filter through here and pick anything that you want. Let's say you have a mindset of, hey, I can only buy between 400,000 and 600,000. And I want something that generates at least 50,000 in revenue and has a minimum kind of return ratio of 10%. You can apply that and you can start seeing which markets kind of meet that criteria. So it's incredibly powerful from that perspective to give you an early look of where should I be looking to buy a property. So this, of course, is in Florida only, but I can do this really any state, anywhere in the United States.
Can we click into one of these? So just pick one that you see up there, and
let's see.
I'd love to dive in and see what metrics you see. So if I decide, what's on there.
Let's go back to Florida, because Florida is always fun. So let's go to Florida, and in Florida, let's look at Seminole, Florida.
Perfect.
Right? I'm guessing that's close to Florida State University. That's my guess. But so now what this is going to do is this is actually going to take you to a markets data tab or markets data section. So this is actually going a few levels deeper into that market. So we're jumping into Seminole right now. So right now, based on here's Seminole on the map. So it looks like, it's
Southwest
outside of
Coast,
Tampa.
near Tampa.
Yeah. Never mind. So it's not close to Florida State. I was wrong. But yeah, so it said average property is 41K there, makes 41K there. Here's what the average daily rates, occupancies, and revenue per available night are for May. Again, show you seasonality, which is always important. And, Florida has always got reverse seasonality for everyone else, where it's, more popular in the wintertime and it slows down in the summer and during the holidays. But here we start giving you a breakdown of like what types of properties are in that market and how do they perform. So you can see in Seminole, Florida, there's only a handful of studios, but they're really not generating a lot of money, right? 7K per year. So you probably don't want to touch a studio. Same thing for a 1-bedroom or a 2-bedroom. Really looks like performance really starts to jump up at 3, 4, and 5 bedrooms. And kind of looking at this here, if you really want to stand out and want to have a more unique property with some good upside, you probably want to go 5+ bedrooms, right? Because they make 75K. And there's only 34 to compete with. If you can find anything even bigger, there's only 7 properties that have more than 7 that have more than 6 bedrooms, that's a really good place to be. And you kind of keep scrolling down, you can see what amenities provide the highest returns in that market. And this is one that I've seen quite a bit recently. Saunas have become extremely popular, and people and properties that have saunas in them are continuously performing much better than properties without a sauna. So adding a sauna will basically add $38,000 of annual revenue in Seminole based on the 4 that are currently in that market. But we give you all that information so you can see what...
No surprise pools adding a ton of value.
Of course, right?
Gotta have a pool in Florida.
Yeah, exactly right. And then the things that don't matter in Florida, interestingly enough, in Seminole, it doesn't matter if you're waterfront or not. And you don't need to have an EV charger or, a gym. Makes sense, right? People just want to go hang out at the pool and enjoy the sunlight. They don't want to work out. And interestingly enough, parking's really not that big of a deal in Seminole. But we give you all that information to tell you, hey, here's the things that people care about in this market to get the top ROI for it. And beyond that, you can even see, okay, so this is what Seminole does. What are the nearby markets? So within Seminole, will show you that this zip code 3376 is actually the better of the two, because it looks like there's only 2 zip codes there. But then other nearby markets that are doing well, Holiday, Largo, Pinellas Park, all these are all performing similarly well. Then you can see the top Airbnbs in that market. So you'll see a lot of pickleball course. It looks like almost a Techbuster property over here. But you'll see these are the best performing properties in that market. And then we'll also show you which properties are for sale in that market that would generate a decent return. So you can then also start, get right to the next step, which is finding a good property to buy in the market. And these are all live and currently available for sale.
Now, if somebody wanted to filter here, so, you show the data that says, hey, let's try to go B5 plus, and, you can generate over, what was that, 80,000 in revenue.
Correct.
How can somebody kind of narrow that down? So let's just say you did have the budget to buy that bigger house. Is there a way to filter, to say, hey, I do want to just see 5 bedrooms, within my comp set?
Not from this page. That's better done on a more specific kind of research page.
Gotcha.
But this page is really to just kind of get you comfortable and learn a market better than you could, by just looking at directly property level data. So the way I kind of think about it is, this is the place. Once you use the prior page to find a market you're interested in, this is the page you go to really dive deeper into a market to see, what type of properties perform the best, what amenities get you the best ROI. And then I'm sure we'll do a video on this in a little bit, or we'll cover this in a little bit. We'll show you how to actually find the right property as well.
Well, thanks for showing us the market tool. Again, head over to rabbu.com, go to data tools, click on market finder, kind of start narrowing down which of the 3,000 plus markets should you dive into here in the United States. Thanks, everyone.